Man,
here we are. What? Yeah. So here we are with Halo Infinite. What are we doing today, Logan?
I don't know why you're doing that voice, but you were
Where are
going
my
to
button
sort of talk
prompts?
about the game a
Oh,
bit,
wait,
since you had a lot of things to say about it.
Right.
And I'm just sort of here to keep the conversation going.
Right. So, as you can see, for whoever's watching this, we're playing Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
And while we play, we're gonna run around, do stuff on the upper world. We're gonna do a little bit of a review and talk about it.
We did a little reviewing here.
Yeah, we do a lot of reviewing. So we're gonna talk about what we like, what we dislike, what we think is good.
What we thought was absolutely terrible, and why this doesn't work as an open world game.
Yeah.
Why I think we shouldn't have thought this was a good idea. And why do we think the license can't be somebody competent?
Yeah, probably ain't gonna happen though. So, what should we talk about first then?
Let's talk about one thing very, very obvious: art style.
Yeah. Well, my take on the art style would be.
I mean, first we need to say, what is the art style? Why is it different? How is it different? You know,
it's got this weird metallic kind of plasticky look to most things. I think it's like, how can I explain it? It's like
texture is the word you're looking for.
It's like things don't have texture, or at least when everything's texture is the same.
Yeah,
where it's
like
this.
all the material, like the actual textures of thing looks fine, but like the material all looks plasticky and lame and doesn't look very good.
Right,
I've noticed this is a trend a lot of games have been getting into nowadays. I guess to look better than they actually are, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Like
or to get away like from the browns and grays and dirt look of older games from like the mid 2010s. But I feel like it just looks tacky, you know? I would say in some ways worse than the brown and gray super detail of previous games.
Oh yeah, sorry. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
I zoned out. What?
I completely zoned out.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Anyway,
art style wise.
Yeah, art style wise, it's kind of not like if we're talking about the art style outside of the actual implementation. I think it looks pretty good. But the way that they implemented it with the materials and the lighting, it all looks, as I said, very unfinished and tacky, which they may fix in patches, but it's this idea that you could just fix everything with patches and updates that's just going to lead to worse and worse games down the line, I think.
As they're saying, I'm hoping we'll get some DLC, because the story the story itself wasn't very good, but what bothers me a good bit for the continuation of it, how they're gonna finish it, is the ending was very abrupt, I feel, you know? I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but I feel like the ending could have been better, you know?
I just realized, you fight basically only the Covenant in this game.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
There's no, like in Halo 1, the Flood show up later and it makes things more interesting. There's not that, you know? It's just, not even the Covenant technically, just these guys. And without a character like Arbiter to shed some light on the Covenant side of things or anything, it's just what you see. And it's kind of boring.
Right.
You know? Like, it feels like we regressed the series at that point.
You don't play as a brute, because brutes are most definitely the bad guys in this situation, you know?
Yeah, and just playing as a brute wouldn't exactly be great, you know? Like, Arbiter isn't just fun because or awesome, I should say, because he's an elite. He was well written, his story was awesome from this get-go, you know? It made some great sort of development of his character as he starts to realize he's being manipulated.
Right.
Even on my knees, I do not belong in their presence.
Halo's destruction was your error, and you rightly bear the blame. But the Council was overzealous. We know you are no heretic. This is the true face of heresy, one who would subvert our faith and incite rebellion against the High Council. This heretic, and those who follow him, must be silenced.
Their slander offends all who walk the path.
What use am I? I can no longer command ships, lead troops into battle.
Not as you are, no, but become the Arbiter. And you shall be set loose against this heresy with our blessing.
What of the Council?
The tasks you must undertake as the Arbiter are perilous, suicidal. You will die, as each Arbiter has before you. The Council will have their corpse.
What would you have your Arbiter do?
I think that the more linear design of Halo 2 really lends itself more than this way open design.
No, speaking of linear design, it's really weird. Halo Infinite itself is not a true open world game, and what I mean by that, it's like it has missions, right? And you go, and you're a lot of the time, mainly in the
Quest missions,
Forerunner
whatever you call
ones,
them.
you're stuck in this small area, and you can't get out. But that sounds weird. That sounds weird.
What?
So there are missions, there's levels, right? Mainly the ones that you are like more reminiscent of the earlier games are the Forerunner ones, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Hold on, let me collect my thoughts.
Yeah, you go collect your thoughts in like a little jar. I'll think for you. So basically what he's saying is the more open design of the game doesn't lend itself to the formula, and so to make it work, they've changed things about the series, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Or
For an open world game, you would have things like, a lot of them are RPGs or have RPG elements, so you actually have a reason to explore, and there's a sense of progression no matter where you are, right? Like in Fallout, I'll bring this up several times, there's so many weapons, and because they break down over time, it forces you to keep looking around and getting new ones. You have a massive inventory. You don't have that in Halo. You have 2 weapon slots, 2 grenade slots, right? So it doesn't work already. And not to mention nowhere near as many weapons to pick from, really.
Right.
You don't have well, I think, does Infinite had weapon mods? I forget.
No. Well, no. It's got weapon variants, which I don't know how I feel about that, really. And,
Yeah.
oh yeah, back to what I was saying earlier, about the level design. You're in one big open world, right? And then you got these smaller, more linear
Yeah, it's
levels.
something I refer to as like non-linear linearity, where a game
Like-
tries to be so non-linear it becomes linear again.
Like, for example, I could walk up to this little cave here, right?
Yeah, like everything just becomes a straight line.
And it would all of a
It
sudden
doesn't
become a
matter
mission,
anymore.
and I would get locked inside this cave for the next 15 minutes. And I beat the mission, and then I can immediately go back out to open world, you know? It's still got levels, but the way it's designed, it feels like you just randomly, okay, go here, do this side quest, and then it turns into a main level, and I feel like it doesn't really lend itself to the series. I feel like the levels normally should have a solid build-up.
Well,
They
there's
have
a
a stronger
cutscene,
story
there's a
in all the
purpose,
previous
everything
games.
feels like it's telling a story. You know what you're doing because it's the story that's been set up and everything is additive, you know? It's well edited, everything goes where it needs to go. You don't go, like, in Halo 2, I'll bring it up again, it doesn't cut to Arbiter's story beginning halfway in the game. You know, everything is well thought out where it's placed. Halo Infinite doesn't have that benefit. Even if we assume it's non-linear and you can go anywhere you want and do the story in any order, it makes it so much more difficult to write a convincing and a compelling story that way. You know, GTA 5. You play the game non-linearly, but the actual campaign story is a pretty linear mission, so you have to do. You can do them in somewhat of an order you want, but at the end of the day, it's still telling the same story. It doesn't matter if you talk to Trevor first, or if you go do the cutscene with Michael first. Their story's the same, either way.
Oh, these are pretty cool bananas.
I'll having like 6
Yeah,
shows.
that's a problem I have.
You didn't start recording the video.
No, I'm recording the video.
You sure? Double check. Go ahead and double check.
Alright, okay.
I do not want to have to.
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay,
anyway.
sure. Okay, good.
We had,
Okay,
had a bit
technical
of a,
issues. This is like the 17th time we've run into them on the channel.
I had a bit of a recording problem. Now where are we? We left for a minute. I had to do some stuff.
Your story keeps changing, or you're changing the story. They're not gonna believe it.
Oh no.
Okay. Anyway, one thing I'll say, some of the sound effects do sound pretty meaty. Like
think
that sound when you shoot the rocket sounds excellent.
The launch
Hey,
of
to
the
your left,
rocket?
to your left, look behind you. Look behind you. Is it
What?
still spinning?
Where? What?
Oh, that you saw that plasma grenade or plasma, whatever it was. That thing to your left. That. What is that?
It was spinning. It's a stucker. What is?
Okay, like it started spinning really crazy like.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the review. Like when you have a nice open area like this is where it feels nice to drive a Warthog. You know. But vehicles.
Oh, that sound is. Oh boy, it sounds like a wasp that's been drowned, and it's just.
I know.
And that honk is terrible.
It sounds like
It sounds like it's a
car.
far away sound. It sounds too muffled, you know?
It's nice that you can control your vehicle in the air,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if we mentioned, but in this plasticky look, the Warthog looks like a Power Wheels, especially the tires. Like, everything has the same texture and material look.
oh, that's cool. Did you see that? He was waving around his plasma pistol trying to cool it off.
Oh, I thought he was just doing a dance.
No, he was like, he was waving it around. Is the point.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like, there's so much heart put into the game, and yet, so much is done wrong, you know? And it makes you sad.
Was that Warthog there before? There's 2 of them now.
Oh, I do not like the voice of these grunts.
Yeah, there's no the filter.
It sounds
for
like
them
somebody's
isn't
like
there.
animation, you know, and they got a voice actor to voice the, you know.
It's have them talk in like
Imitation
It sounds like they
doesn't
just
sound
had a
like-
person talk in a high pitched voice instead of putting the grunt voice filter on them. You know.
Yeah.
I think I like them and dislike them in this game. On one hand,
I mean, it's hard to dislike grunts, you know.
yeah, I mean, on one hand, I think they're a little too meta. On the other, I think some of the stuff they say is like classic. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
They don't really seem to refer to you as the demon that much anymore.
the elites do. Nobody else really does though.
That's lame. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would get a little bit tiring, still being referred to as the demon at the same time. Oh, look.
It feels like a callback of
Halo
classic.
music. And all I am doing is driving randomly in random
Yeah.
directions.
Now, I do like you can just fucking kill
I just
everyone.
realized there's no like,
Whoa.
there's no
Oh,
impend.
well, no, I
you know,
died.
there's no like impend in this game.
Yeah, the music never really gets up to that
Hype,
that feel,
It's all just like
the excitement of
there's
the
like a
classical
couple
music.
different unique songs, and then there's your Halo theme montage, where it's a different version of the main Halo theme.
Yeah,
You know, with the
theme
vocals,
montage.
and that's like it. It's
Yeah.
like there's more to the music than just that. It's like I said earlier. Once again, we were talking about it while it was not recording, which
Yeah.
was annoying. But Marty O'Donnell and I always forget his name, the other guy.
Michael
the-
Salvatore, I
Thank you.
believe.
I'm just gonna call him Michael and Marty because that's easier to remember.
A
They
TV show,
were like,
Mike and Marty.
and most people talk about Marty, of course, the heart and soul of the OST. You know?
yeah.
They, not to mention, at least Marty, very much understood the series and what it was trying to be and what it should be. So when you don't have them in the as composers, the music is like, it's not Halo music. It just won't ever be because that music is so stylized. You can try to imitate it, but it still won't be the same. Which is why the music is it's a mixed bag. There's some decent music, but it doesn't really feel like Halo music. And then you got your imitation songs. It's just another version of the Halo theme, where it
Yeah.
has the motif.
Like,
and it's neat
some of the
and all,
music
but-
that doesn't exactly sound like Halo-y music, I think sounds good. Like there's this one song, I forget when. I was assaulting a banished. I was attacking a banished base, right?
Yeah.
A banished base, and this music started to kick up, and I was like, "Wow, this doesn't really sound like Halo music, but it sounds pretty good, right?" It had like these drums in it and stuff. I can't really explain it, but it sounded nice. Point is, you can have music that doesn't exactly fit the series in this, that sounds good, but a lot of the time, the music just sounds generic, you know? Because you went on a little rambling there.
Yeah. Don't even. I would. It just gets punched over and over again. I feel like in Halo, I want to say it was 3. They had a decent counter if you were trying to melee them, where they would bounce back and sort of boom throw you away. You kind of push you back. Yeah. But yeah, we've been talking about mechanics and all that for a long time. What we really need to talk about now is story, the actual story. There's no avoiding spoilers, so... yeah.
The story.
First things first, biggest elephant in the room, Cortana. Been the biggest elephant really since the series has been 343s. What's your opinion on what they did with Cortana? Because I've been interrupting you for like 5 minutes.
It's basically the same writing, you know. It's by the same team of people, so of course the writing is going to be pretty much the same. But it's Cortana again, you know. There's not much different. They're just calling her the weapon, trying to make it seem different. She's probably one of my least favorite characters in the game. Just the way she's written in this one, it's just really annoying. And every time she's in a cutscene, she does the exact same thing over and over and over again.
Oh, look, is this the same song, or is this another remix of the Halo theme?
Like this right here, this looks really good. But if you showed me this a little less often, and you made it...
Wind! I just realized, there's no wind. Look at this. No wonder it feels so static. Look.
And then you have to be high up on mountains.
You can kind of see like wind effects when you're running, but like, shouldn't there be like loud wind, kind of like, whoosh, you know, blowing through this ravine? Imagine how cool that could be. You could see like some like, I don't know, small plants blowing in the distance on the sides of the ravine.
Right, that would be really cool. It makes sense that there's not plants, though. I guess kind of because it's all like metal and
rock
everything.
and metal, yeah. But I don't know, just me.
Like these look really cool. But from far away, they don't look so good. Like, look at that. Looks untextured. When you're close, they look great.
The light is kind of
far away, doesn't look fantastic.
Not to mention, you're just floating in space, so that's kind of awkward.
Like, the skybox looks good, but when you look down...
Yeah, you realize it's a skybox.
You realize...
I mean, it's terrifying, but I feel like it could be much scarier looking straight down.
It's like when you're falling through the world in Minecraft.
I know what it is. Look over there. You see how underneath there's like that sort of glow around stuff? I feel like it should just get really dark if you look straight down. Almost like you're in the ocean and you look down and it gets unbelievably dark and blue, and you're just like this sort of existential fear of falling down, you know?
Throwing all my grenades into the void.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, it's like when you're falling through the world in Minecraft and you all of a sudden you see where all the dungeons and everything and all the caves are, you know?
Yeah. Anyways, we were talking about story.
Story-wise, Cortana, one of the worst parts in this.
Yeah.
The weapon, what do you want to call her? It's just Cortana again. Not one of my favorite parts. You know, whenever she's in a cutscene, like I said before, she does the same thing over and over again. She goes, "Alright, let's hack this." Click, clack, beep. Snaps. Wait a minute, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let's fix it. Oh, look out, Chief. Someone attacks you or whatever. Okay, next cutscene. Okay, let's hack this computer. Wait, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Here's another question.
It's like the Voss guy from Far Cry 3 where he goes, you know, the definition of insanity. Yeah, it's that. I'm not trying to be like a Redditor or a brainlet or anything, but it's pretty much just that, you know?
Yeah.
And wait, actually no, the main villain, Eshram, he says something very similar to that. He's like this world looping, repeating forever.
He's just describing the
game.
He's just
describing the game.
Describing how 343 is just selling you the same game over and over again.
Describing how Cortana functions in this, you know?
Is Atriox actually aware of how repetitive this game is?
Who's Eshram, but
Eshram, Atriox, you know, the same thing.
But same character, pretty much.
They might as well be the same guy.
Yeah.
Basically, they're actually the same. Just kidding.
They're actually the same guy.
Oh my god, he changed his facial structure and voice in order to make you believe he's the same, or is a different guy, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But the story, not the bright spot of this game. I would say the bright spot is the
it looks overexposed, the dirt and sand. You know, like it looks like the sun is facing straight down on it.
Also,
It's
I
weird.
wish stealth was a more viable option, you know? Where I remember they were talking about before the game was out. They were talking about how you could sneak up. There's so many ways you could approach
Are
the
there
situation.
assassinations?
No,
There's no assassinations. Are you serious?
no. And the
Maybe
reason
they're not
is,
progressing
at
the
least in the
series.
multiplayer, you die so quickly and the time to kill is so low.
I just realized it feels so lonely, doesn't it?
Yeah,
There's nobody here.
and there's not people like talking
There's
to you
no
on
like
your comms
cutscenes
or
of like
anything.
Johnson doesn't walk up and say, "All right, here's what we're gonna do." You know,
Yeah.
there's no like your buddy elites who are like Arbiter. Let's kill those heretics. You know, there's nothing.
I wish there was like, cool, fun stuff to do, like neat little side missions. There's like no interesting side missions where it's like, okay, there's a marine trapped somewhere, go save him, or like a
I've marked some
defecting
that-
elite or
There's some
something.
that need your help. I'll mark it on your map for you.
You know, Marines don't talk to you on your comms or anything. Like, Chief, is that you? We need your help. We're over here. We'll mark it on your map.
Chief, do a barrel roll.
Yeah. There's blatantly large amounts of polish that are just missing in this game. But then some parts are just like, wow, that was really fun.
Yeah.
You know, like the movement. I feel like they've nailed the movement. It's not advanced movement like
That's a
Halo
little
5.
more advanced, but it's not too much. Sprinting is there. I still feel like sprinting should be there.
Sprinting isn't really necessary. It moves you like 9 or 10% faster, so it's not necessary. It doesn't
But
move you
I think the grapple hook
25%.
does great balance where the grapple hook is better than sprinting. You know, you can actually do more cool things, and it actually adds to the sort of the sandbox.
Exactly.
I would say it's a solution for the, I'm walking so slow, I want to get there sooner, and it allows you to move around your environment in more interesting ways, unlike Sprint, which was a very stupid idea to put, or stupid thing to put to Halo,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
But this also brings up the obvious
Uh-oh.
Yep.
No, I'm
Ah! The Kirby scream here.
dead. Yeah, put the Kirby screen.
Yeah. Talk about dedication.
You've got mail.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
Yeah. Anyways,
But like, I do agree. I think the grapple hook adds to the sandbox a lot. You know, I think most of the equipment adds to the sandbox in campaign and multiplayer.
yeah,
The only thing
that
is,
is a big mountain.
some of them don't do as much for the sandbox as others do. For example, the drop wall is terrible. It sucks. It's stupid. It's like
Yeah.
you took the bubble shield, cut it down to 25% size, and it's only one side, and now it blocks 2 or 3 pistol shots. The sidekick pistol bullets, like drop wall's broken immediately. Or you can just shoot the little part that generates it and break it immediately. Throw a grenade, just continue shooting, and they're dead. The drop wall, it's useless. It's okay for like, preemptive, drop down the drop wall and maybe
Yeah.
block a grenade or a
Is it
rocket.
more like, do the
but that's
brute
very
weapons
rare.
not look very brutish? They more just look like, I don't know.
They look like
Oh.
Destiny weapons, a lot of the brute weapons, excluding the classic brute weapons. Like the shock weapons, looks like something from Destiny or some other game, right? This does not look like a brute weapon. You know, this looks like high
It
tech.
looks like almost like some sort of like third faction, you know?
Exactly.
It looks more like a human weapon, but slightly more angular, and it doesn't really look brutish. You know, like, remember the brute shot? Looks brutish as hell.
the brute
Looks
shot-
alien, but also looks like brutish at the same time.
Remember the Mangler? Like some of the stuff in this does look like brute stuff, like the
Looks like the kind of stuff it evokes that sort of brute animalistic nature where it's made for gnashing and tearing and blasting and cutting.
something
This
I wish
just,
they would
you
bring
know,
back. The plasma rifle still isn't in this. You could bring back the brute plasma rifle even. You know, remember the brute plasma rifle? Like, there's so much stuff that they're just missing. The brute shot, the mauler.
Yeah.
You remember the mauler? It was like a little shotgun brute pistol.
Yeah. I would say
Agree.
one thing that feels amazing in this game, and is one of the reasons why this game still is getting relatively good praise to some extent, is the grapple hook. Not just the grapple hook, but the feeling of exploring around. I mean, not so much exploring, it's just moving
The
around.
feeling
mechanical
of
feeling
being
it.
able to just, okay, look at that structure. go ahead and go climb it.
That
is what's satisfying. People want to be able to go see something huge in the distance and go climb it, like what I'm doing right now. You see this?
But it's almost like they don't. I feel like this is almost like a GTA problem, where GTA is like the quests in GTA suck. They have not improved like at all in the entire series, at least since the 3D series. You know, all of them terrible. And it's like the one thing that's fun is driving around, and it's like they don't even realize this with GTA. GTA 5 especially, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like, in multiplayer, so many of the missions suck, and then maybe part of it is just to get you to grind or just spend money on getting stuff instead of grinding the missions. I don't know. But even in the campaign, a lot of the missions suck. In GTA 5. It's still a fun game, but the fun part is driving around and just messing around. That's the fun part, you know? And in Halo Infinite, I think it's a similar problem, where that part is fun, but then shouldn't the other parts of the game be, like, I don't know if it's just designed around that part being fun? It's almost like they're not, you know? Like, there's two different designers. One's making a part of the game that sucks, nobody wants to play, wants to be over with, and then the other guy's designing the mechanics and movement and exploration sort of part that's fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think they did really well on the fact that you see something in the distance, at least most of the time, you can go to it. Like that structure over there, as far as I know, I think I can go over there. Maybe not. Like this over here, I can go there. This mountain here, I can go there.
Another is why.
It's not, yeah. Like, for example, in Skyrim, there are a ton of mountains.
Well, there's still not a lot of reason to climb those mountains, but still, sometimes
yeah, there's no reason
something.
to. It's not. I think the FOBs should be a bit higher up. Like maybe put an FOB or at least a helipad of some kind where like aerial vehicles spawn, like up there on top of these mountains.
It could be another thing that could be interesting is if encampments, like as you play through the game and you beat enemy encampments, they're taken over, and there's kind of that. But like
maybe make it so if I take over a banished facility, I unlock a type of like banished vehicle, like a ghost
and characters
or a
will
wraith
show up
or a
there and
banshee.
start building up like. And then they'll be like, "Hey, Chief, I found a settlement that needs your help. I'll mark it on your map." You know, every time we start talking to it, and then immediately turns into Fallout 4.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Because to make an open world game work, you need that kind of stuff. Fallout 4 is infamous for doing it so terribly, but that kind of stuff inevitably appears. And
like,
that's just what would have to happen if you were going to be putting a focus on settlements and FOVs, which they clearly are. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have FOVs, but then not have that be the focus of the game.
FOB.
Whatever. You get my point.
But my question is, why is this not an FOB? It's shaped like an FOB and it's set up like an FOB, but it isn't.
Certainly could be, and it's even got weapons and crates. But you know.
Why specifically just this, not an FOB? Let me check the map. Maybe it is. Outpost terminates complete. Yeah, it's just a mission. Weird.
That was a mission. There was no cutting. There was no okay, Chief. Let's do it. There's no Johnson's not just like I keep bringing up Johnson because he was so much the heart and soul of the older games too. He's obviously dead. You can't bring him back, but there's never been a replacement ever. And there's not even any like other ODSTs like no 3 ODST or like other Spartans like in Reach or anything. It's just
we're
lame.
looking for FOB Alpha. Do you see FOB Alpha anywhere?
This time I've got something I know you can do. We're gonna open a jar. Easy. Now you try. First get a jar. Patrick, that's plasma grenade.
Yes.
Alright. So.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I'm getting really tired of the sort of game industry making games that have some really, really good parts that are so held back by other parts of it. Like I just beat Inscryption. This is kind of unrelated. The gameplay is so good, and there's so much detail and effort put into the atmosphere, and then you got this really stupid ARG sort of, like, ooh, the game is evil and cursed, there's a monster, demon, devil in the code,
Yeah,
and it takes away so much of the game to the point where they sacrifice
like,
it's like you could have had this really great game that's gonna last for years, people are gonna keep coming back to and talking about. It would be a game they'd replay a bunch, but instead you chose to be this game that was kind of quirky and
I didn't even shoot
kind
that
of
guy.
like what's the word? Unsettling, briefly, for 14-year-olds, you know, to watch YouTubers play. It gets some notoriety for a few months and then be gone, and I hate that because it deserves so much more. There's so much effort put into the gameplay and the atmosphere and the characters. I would love to see like